Hello, everybody, once again. Welcome to Bobcat Corner. This is episode 8 of this series. I'm your host, Stephen Vitz, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet for this time around because we're going to be talking about a position on the football team doesn't go doesn't go really talked about all that much. But we're just going to highlight this position for a little bit here, and this is part of a little sub-series called Know the Bobcats. We're getting to know what this Bobcats football team is going to be like in the 2024 regular season. So, with that in mind, we're going to be talking about the offensive line. Now, I hinted at this at the last video I did concerning Know the Bobcats when I talked about the quarterback position. Obviously, you need great quarterback play. You need sufficient leadership skills at the quarterback position to succeed on the football field. That can't be stated enough. But also what it takes to have a successful offense in college football, in any level of American football. You have got to have a competent and successful and a very knowledgeable offensive line. You need to have a solid group, a solid cohesive group of offensive linemen that can work together in a group of five guys lined up on the line of scrimmage to protect the quarterback, to, to protect the running back on run plays, and push to really push and shove their way down the field. That's really it. That's really how it is in the game of American football. You need to have a group of five guys on your offensive line that has that mentality of serving as that fortress wall, so to speak. If you're going to be an offensive lineman in the game of football, you've got to have that mentality because on the other end of the trenches, on the other end of the line of scrimmage, you're going to have a defensive line that's going to attack you, that's going to try to get past you so that they can either sack the quarterback or take down the running back. So, with that in mind as well, I'm going to provide a link to a short article that I just found not too long ago talking about the offensive line. And I'm not going to really read into it, but it's just titled 11 Basic Fundamentals Every Offensive Lineman Should Know. And for those of you that are not all that familiar with American football, if you're just getting into it, this is a good way to really start learning the game when you read articles like this. So I think this would be a helpful piece of information for you guys if you're just picking up the game of football for the first time or you're just like really starting to get into it. But anyway, some of the things that are talked about in articles like that, and I skimmed through it, I read a little bit of it, and I think it is a good read. Um, a few of the things that you need in an offensive line in the game of football would be to have good technique. Your offensive linemen need to have a good stance when they're starting a play. So, you hear about this all the time when you watch a game of football. It's like, penalty flag is thrown on the offense, it's false start on the offensive line. That means that an offensive lineman broke his stance way too early. That's a false start, and obviously you can't have that. So stance is everything in an offensive lineman. That's really the number one thing that I would say that you need in a successful offensive lineman. He's got to be in a good stance. He's got to be in that consistent stance where he doesn't break it so that he does not commit that false start penalty. Because that is like one of the few penalties that really drives me up a wall personally when I'm watching a game of football. It's like, really? How many false starts do you need? You know, so really when it comes to a stance, it takes good footwork. You got to mind your base as an offensive lineman. You got to stay stay there. You have to just stay locked into your position. Hands, when the play starts, you got to have your hands, you know, blocking the defensive lineman or any attacker out there without holding, because you can't do any holding penalties. Elbows, you got to have your elbows, out in a good enough position so that you can be able to spread yourself out if you have to track down one of these attackers. So it depends on the blitz formation and things like that. Upper body, you got to have great upper body strength. It comes back to size. And your head, you always have to keep your head on a swivel, not just for breaking news stories, but for just what happens on the field. So anyway, there's that stance, technique. If you're going to have a competent offensive line, you got to have a good stance. So there you go with that. Secondly, explosiveness. Now, when you're going to run a play, whether it's a running play or a passing play, your offensive linemen have got to have that kind of explosiveness to get off from the line of scrimmage to start pass protecting or run protecting. You know, you got to get onto your blocks, and in a sequence, you have to get off from one block to another. As an offensive lineman, you got to know this. So that's something to keep in mind. And third, fourth, and fifth, I'm going to run through these three real quick. Discipline. It kind of goes back to the first point, but in general, you got to have discipline. You got to, keep your cool when you're playing a position on the offensive line, because things get really, really heated in the trenches at times. The defensive line brings the heat with blitz packages all the time. And as an offensive lineman, you got to learn how to deal with that. So you got to be disciplined. And finish. You need to be able to finish the play. You cannot keep the opposing defensive player in the play. You got to be able to finish your blocks, finish your assignment, whatever that is. And you got to make sure that your opponent is not going to have that opportunity to take down the quarterback or ball carrier. You just can't let that happen. Cannot let that happen. And fifth, finally, size. I don't think size means everything, but personally, I do think size does matter. In some shape or form, size does matter. So that would be a good segue into evaluating the Ohio Bobcats roster. Now, granted, I have not had that much time to evaluate the Bobcats' current roster for 2024, but from what I've seen, um, it does look promising. Generally speaking, it does look promising. Last couple of seasons, the Bobcats have turned a corner. They've been winning more games. That's a good sign. And I'm just going to go through these names real fast from the roster that I've seen, listed on the Bobcats website. And here we go. Davion Witherspoon, 6'0", 295 pounds, redshirt junior. Trent Allen, 6'3", 290 pounds, junior. Caden Rogers, 6'3", 295 pounds, junior. Redshirt junior. Sorry. Shedrick Rhodes Jr., 6'6", 322 pounds, redshirt senior. Christopher Atkinson, 6'4", 318 pounds, graduate student. Cam Wright, 6'4", 333 pounds, redshirt sophomore. Parker Titsworth, 6'1", 298 pounds, graduate student. Aiden Johnson, 6'3", 316 pounds, redshirt freshman. Joseph Habanowski, 6'5", 315 pounds, redshirt senior. Okay. Jarian Shelby, 6'4", 284 pounds, redshirt sophomore. Jacob Dennison, 6'5", 316 pounds, redshirt senior. Tagana Sissi, hope I said that right. 6'3", 285 pounds, freshman. Jake Skelly, 6'4", 284 pounds, redshirt junior. And okay, 2 last names. Dane Jackson, 6'0", 290 pounds, redshirt senior. And last but not least, Ben Bergfeld, the long snapper, 5'8", 241 pounds, redshirt sophomore. So that is your room for the offensive line. And overall, as an entire package, uh, the Bobcats offensive line, they have promising talent in that room. And I do expect to see some good competition in the trenches there for the spring practices, which, by the way, have already begun. We're already like 3 weeks into the spring practice session. So we're going to get some glimpses here and there into what to expect out of the 2024 Ohio Bobcats. And when I start getting information on the Ohio Bobcats in 2024, I will start updating you guys promptly concerning that. But if I can make one more comment concerning the offensive line, obviously it's an unsung position on the football field. And I really believe that it should be highlighted more on the football team because it doesn't matter how talented your starting quarterback is, it doesn't matter how much experience your starting quarterback has. If your starting quarterback is running for his life for most of the game, then obviously you did not prepare your offensive line well at all. And that's really more at the heart of what makes an offense go in American football. You got to have a strong offensive line. You got to have at least enough of a presence at the line of scrimmage in the trenches to be able to pull off the plays that you're going to run. You have to command the narrative, so to speak, when you're playing offense. And this is where your offensive line gets into the fold. You got to have a solid group of 5 guys up there that can push their weight around and can be able to serve as that fortress wall, a fortress wall that can't be broken. It doesn't matter what the opposing defense does. It doesn't matter what kind of heat they're going to bring with their blitz packages. Your offensive line has got to have strength and knowledge to overcome all that. And as time goes on here, we're going to find out who's going to end up being the starting 5 for that offensive line for the Ohio Bobcats. And I, for one, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing who emerges out of that room of names that I just listed. So we'll see. I mean, hey, and you never know if any transfers are going to come from anywhere else to Athens, Ohio, to play for the Bobcats. So keep an eye out for that too. I really believe that if you're going to build a football team, you got to have a strong offensive line, plain simple. So yeah, just want to keep it simple. Just wanted to keep it just basic for this episode of Bobcat Corner. Let me know what you guys think. Um, like I said, as far as updates go for the Ohio Bobcats football team, I'm going to promptly make updates when they come along. When I get notified of what's happening with the Bobcats, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Comments are appreciated. And give this video a like. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe so you can get notified. And I hope to be making more of these videos for you. I enjoy making them. So I'm hoping you guys enjoy these things too. Have a good day or afternoon or night, depending on where you live, and take care.